Talk about chapter 11. We're there. Sometime in October, we're going to start counseling. And of course, in order for you to counsel, one of the things that you need is your fictional biography, as you can see. So let's talk about how you pass this class. There's 15 chapter tests at 10 points apiece. You've got a library paper that deals with the pathology of your character in your fictional biography. You have discussion questions that are worth 10 points apiece for each for 10 weeks. Is that correct? Up to 10 weeks. That's what it is. Yeah. So that's 100 points. Fictional biography is 50 points, and then the counseling sessions, there are 10 of them. That's 100 points. So right now we've got two, I believe. Two people have turned in their counseling or their fictional biography. So you need to get those in. We have two, S. King and D. Harris. Oh, is that it? I thought I had one more. Anyway. Okay, so we have two, and I think there's like 21 of you guys. So if you want to pass the class, you're going to have to do the counseling sessions. As you can see, there's just not enough numbers to be able to do this, to be able to pass the class, unless you do your counseling sessions. Why? Because the counseling sessions are worth 100 points. The fictional biography is worth 50 points. And the paper is worth 100 points. That's half your points right there, 250 points. So you're going to have to turn in your fictional biographies. Make sure it's a problem that you haven't had in the past or that you're very close to. There's lots of things out there that you can do. OCD, you can do, you're a transgender person that wants to transition into to another gender. There's lots of things that you could possibly do. Anxiety, depression, loneliness would work. Just lots and lots of things. So you need to get those in. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, and that's it. All right. So today we're going to talk about Chapter 11, Readiness and Motivation, how we figure this out. Starting with research by Prochaska in 1999, a lot of this stuff, this is really kind of interesting. Most of the counseling technique that we're talking about is a counseling technique that has been developed in this century, actually in this century. They were we it has evolved from something that we were doing back in the 70s, but it actually is relatively new. And most of what I'm talking about, and the reason these authors wrote this book, was because this was a new way of looking at things. And so that you're right on the cutting edge of this type of counseling. Starting with research by Prochaska in 1999, researchers have identified 5 stages of readiness to change using smoking cessation, weight reduction, and sobriety studies. And these are the 5 stages: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Now you can see this. Prochaska did the research in 1999, and these are the 5 that they came up with, looking at smoking cessation and weight reduction. Pre-contemplation, in the pre-contemplation stage, the individual denies or lacks understanding of his problem behavior. He's in denial. This individual is in denial and will not admit that they do have a problem. Since the individual does not recognize their problem, they do not see the need for change. They may blame their problems on others. They may only agree to see a practitioner because someone else has suggested or required it, like him. Or probably a judge. Usually a policeman doesn't demand these kinds of things. Anyway, so what we're looking at a person that's in denial. That's a pre-contemplation stage. And if you've ever been around somebody who is a drinker, and you think maybe they drink a little bit more than they should, they will probably tell you you are incorrect. They can control it. They are in control. Pre-contemplation stage. A person who abuses substances, but despite many arrests for driving under the influence, does not consider themselves to have a problem that needs to be addressed. They're in the pre-contemplation stage. A gang that lives in a community with high levels of violence who believe they can continue perpetrating violence and not be personally affected. They're in the pre-contemplation stage. A husband who comes along to counseling because his wife thinks they have problems but doesn't see any problems himself. Pre-contemplation stage. A wife who wants to end her marriage and comes to counseling to ease her guilt. Maybe she's going to counseling in order to tell herself, I did everything I could to save the marriage. I even went to counseling. Pre-contemplation stage. A person who has had a serious health crisis and has been told to change their eating habits but states, I've always eaten this way. I am not going to change now. Pre-contemplation stage. Practitioners should focus on raising clients' awareness of the urgency of the issues and the pain or fear that is involved. Counselor of pre-contemplation, if you continue drinking, what do you think your life will be like in 5 years? Passed out on a park bench with half your clothes gone. Counselor, I've worked with people who've changed their eating habits and become healthier. Passed out on a street with all those are Twinkies. He's got Twinkies. A person in the pre-contemplation stage isn't interested in setting goals. The target must be to get the client to think about changing their lives and whether it will improve their lives. The second stage of readiness for change is contemplation. The individual is in this stage weighs the pros and cons in making a change, but they're not quite ready to move ahead with making a change. They're thinking about it. They are no longer in denial. Now they realize they have a problem, but they're not quite ready to go. Practitioners can discuss the advantages and disadvantages of changing. It is helpful to identify barriers or challenges to making changes. The practitioner can propose small steps toward considering a change. Practitioner, as you think about giving up marijuana, what do you consider would be the advantages and disadvantages? Client, I'm not ready to make any changes right now. Okay. Client, I've wondered if some of the problems on this team are because I am kind of dominating. But on the other hand, I think we get more accomplished because I'm pushy. Client, my boss thinks I should get over my fear of making speeches, but I'm just not sure if it is something I can do. Client, I keep getting sent to the principal's office for fighting, and then I can't play in the next football game. I don't like getting in trouble, but I have to stand up for myself. Contemplation stage. Client, we have discussed forming a committee to address the problems in this organization, but I wonder if we would really accomplish anything. Contemplation stage. Practitioners can help clients identify barriers or challenges to making changes and also strengths that will be helpful if they decide to change. Practitioners might ask if there are small steps they might consider that may lead to a greater willingness to change in the near future. The third stage is preparation. The clients are ready to change and are looking for information. They may have already made some changes and are wanting to make more progress. They may have made some small steps and are ready to move forward making goals. Generally, people need to be in this stage before major change will be possible. The fourth stage is action. So what do we have so far? We have pre-contemplation, contemplation, and preparation. Okay, so now we're going to do it. Action. The fourth stage is action. Clients are ready to take specific steps and may need little or no support from the practitioner. If the practitioner assumes that clients are at this stage and yet they are still in a previous stage, the practitioner will likely feel frustrated. Clients may feel that they should be ready to take steps that they are not yet ready to take. Only about a third of clients come to a practitioner at this stage. Now, you wish that if they came in to see you, you would want them to be in the action stage. They're ready to change, and all they need are goals to set. They need to set their own goals and decide which direction they want to go. This is how you want your clients to come in. Sadly, only about a third of the clients that you will see are in this stage. Most clients are in the contemplation stage. But sometimes they're in the pre-contemplation stage. Why are they in the pre-contemplation stage? Because someone has sent them to you and they're not ready to change yet. Action. Okay, we're in the action stage. An obese client, when faced with life-threatening health issues, joins Weight Watchers, learns to follow the program, and loses a significant amount of weight. They're in the action stage. A parent whose children have been removed from the home because the parent used harsh, abusive means of discipline says that they will learn other ways of discipline, willingly goes to a parenting class and talks with the practitioner about ways to use what they have learned. A child realizes they will not be able to play on a team without earning passing grades and starts attending an after-school tutoring class in order to bring up their grades. A task group establishes a clear goal, identifies steps to achieve their goal, and talks with a practitioner about ways to work together most effectively. Maintenance, the pull to return to old behaviors is very strong, and this is why the maintenance stage is there. Clients need to develop ways to cope with temptations and to reward day-to-day successes. It is helpful to explore how past successes have been maintained and develop ways to maintain current changes. It must be remembered that this stage can be difficult. The old behavior was maintained before because it was rewarding or comfortable. Clients need to learn to cope with old behaviors and temptations for the long haul. An organization develops more effective ways of problem solving and plans regular meetings so potential problems can be addressed before they become bigger issues. An individual learns to stop procrastinating on projects and makes plans to check in with someone who will provide honest feedback about whether the problem seems to be reappearing. A person who has had serious problems with alcohol abuse continues to be involved with Alcoholics Anonymous. A person who has lost weight with the help of Weight Watchers and continues to attend meetings at least once a month. Relapse is common, and preparation for it needs to be a part of the process. Relapse is so common when change has occurred that some practitioners add it as a stage of change. When a relapse occurs, clients may return to any of the previous stages. It is the job of the practitioner to determine which stage the client is in. Termination is the point at which there is no temptation to return to old behaviors. My wife is a serial weight watcher. She's a serial weight loser, and anytime she'll go and she'll go and she'll go and she'll be so good. She'll be so good and she'll lose the weight that she wants to lose, and then she's doing fine. She's doing fine. Then all of a sudden she'll relapse. It's all over with. She will not go back to the way things were before. And what you need to do, what she really needs to do, what other people need to do. If you've got a problem, you solve the problem, everything's going well, then all of a sudden you fall off the wagon. What you need to do is see that as a one-time thing and then go back on the wagon. That's what you need to do, but she doesn't do that or hasn't been doing that, or anyway, that's that's the way it works, unfortunately. Assessing stages of change. Do you currently have a problem with? If yes, then the client is in contemplation, preparation, or action stage, if they admit that they have a problem. If no, then the client is in the pre-contemplation stage. Do you intend to deal with the problem? If the answer is someday, then the client is in the contemplation stage. If the answer is in the next few weeks or a specific date, then they are in the preparation stage. If they say right now, then they are in the action stage. Do you intend to deal with the problem? If the answer to the question was no, then ask what leads you to say that. If the answer is because it is not a problem, the client is in the pre-contemplation stage. If the client responds because I've already dealt with that problem, the client is in the maintenance stage. Another theory that can be used to assess readiness or the ability to make changes is social cognitive theory. This theory was developed by Albert Bandura and was originally called the social learning theory. And there's Albert Bandura when he got his master's degree back in the 50s. This theory considers the impact of the following factors as to readiness for change: the environment, the personal impact, and behavioral impact. Personal factors include everything: physical makeup, brain structure, cognitive capacity, beliefs, self-concept, goals, and emotions. Personal factors deal with how you interact with others. Are you focused more inward on yourself? Are you focused more outward on others? Research has shown that behavior affects brain structures. That's according to Mathiak and Weber in 2006. Long-haul truck drivers have different brain structures than theoretical physicists. Behavior also affects physical makeup, as someone who is sedentary will look different from a marathoner. And I'm guessing the marathoner is on the left and the sedentary fellow is on the right. When assessing a person's readiness or ability to make changes from the point of view of the social cognitive theory, several dimensions are considered. Does the environment support or encourage changed behavior? Now, this is really important because one of the things I noticed when I was working up in Montana was that the environment drew people back to their to what they were doing before. Part of the problem, let's say somebody's a drinker. The environment supported drinking. The environment supported substance abuse. So that was a continuing problem. And for somebody to break away from that, they had to change their environment. They had to change their friendship structure. They had to stop hanging around with people that drank, because that was a cue that would draw them back in. So the environment was extremely important. Does the person think that they have the capacity to make the change? Everybody has the willpower to do it. The question is, do they have enough right now? Especially if they're not going to change their environment. They're going to be constantly pulled back into the crab bucket because they can't escape. The environment is the same. They have the willpower to do it, but they need to be able to break away. Does the client believe that there is something to be gained from making the change rather than maintaining the current behavior? And that's a tough one, because if all your friends are doing one thing and you start doing something totally different, then you'll lose your friends, and that's kind of tough. The practitioner must take into account all factors that influence the client, their family, the group, or organization. Do they feel compelled to solve the problem? The amount of discomfort created by the problem impacts the motivation. Environmental factors can influence motivation. The relationship of the client and practitioner influence motivation. Positive regard can increase motivation, as can the practitioner's genuineness, focus on the issues, and regular feedback. Problems in the relationship must be dealt with non-defensively by both parties, but especially the practitioner. It is important for the practitioner to regularly ask for feedback from the client to ensure that the progress that he or she perceives is actual and not illusional. And of course, we're looking for positive signs. So sometimes we see positive signs that aren't actually there. So that's the illusional part. We need to make sure that the client is seeing the same thing that we're seeing. We're not creating illusions in our own minds. And I'll have to admit, when I teach these classes, a lot of times I assume everything's fine and things aren't fine. Why? Because I maintain illusions myself. Discounting is a cognitive distortion that allows clients to deny or minimize existence of the problem. 4 levels of discounting: thinking there is no problem, thinking the problem is not significant but present, thinking that the problem does not have a solution, but it still blocks motivation, thinking that others have changed the problem but that he or she cannot do it. They could be in the contemplation stage. An individual who thinks being 50 pounds overweight is not a problem. A family that believes, okay, we're talking about thinking there is no problem. An individual who thinks being 50 pounds overweight is not a problem. That's the guy on the left. A family that believes disciplining children by hitting them with a belt isn't a problem. A task group that thinks the fact that they haven't started working on an assignment that is due in a few days is not a problem. A business that thinks that the fact that their product isn't completely safe is not a problem. A guy that is 50 pounds overweight accepts it as a problem but not a serious one. The abusive belt-hitting family might not worry about their discipline technique because 1, they never do it in public, 2, it doesn't happen that often, and 3, this must be the right way to discipline because their family has always done it this way going back 5 generations. It's not a significant problem. The task group says that getting started late is a problem, but not a serious one because students work on things at the last minute all the time and they still get them done because they are so brilliant. Isn't it great to be a brilliant student? Not a significant problem. The business admits that their product isn't completely safe, but since most people are not negatively affected by it, it isn't really important to change it. Thinking that the problem does not have a solution. Being 50 pounds overweight is a serious problem, but everyone in the family is overweight and there is nothing that can be done about it. Disciplining children by hitting them with a belt may be considered a serious problem by some blue noses in the community, but it is not. It is the only effective way to make their children behave. Okay, so there's no solution. We wanted to get a good grade on this project and knew that starting late may mean that it won't be possible, but everyone was too busy. We just couldn't do it any other way. The business made a statement that selling a product that is unsafe is a risk, but it is a profitable product and they don't know any way to improve the safety. Thinking the others have changed the problem, but they cannot do it. I am concerned about being overweight, and I know that my friend lost weight recently, but losing weight isn't something I can do. We haven't been able to discipline our children except by hitting them, but our neighbors took a parenting course and learned several new ways to discipline their children. For this assignment, we weren't able to start working until right before the project was due, but some of the other groups in the class somehow found enough time to work together before the project was due, and they got better grades than we did. We haven't found any way to be profitable except by continuing to sell an unsafe product, but there are other similar companies who have found alternative safe and profitable products. Discounting. The practitioner's job is to get the client to accept the problem exists, the problem is serious, the problem is solvable by the client. Most people are uncomfortable with change, so getting past discounting may take time. Strengths, capacity, and resources have a significant effect on motivation. Clients who have many personal strengths, good social support, and adequate resources tend to be motivated. Resilience is an important strength. Level of stress and demands reduces or enhances motivation. Clients who have faced extensive stress recently and have high stress currently have depleted their resources and may have difficulty dealing with new stress. Hope. Experience teaches the client that they have the ability to affect change. Experience leads to self-efficacy, which leads to hope. Another element of hope is an internal locus of control. They believe that their behavior will produce the desired changes. I control my own destiny. People with external locus of control believe that control is external and they have no power to influence it. Thus, anything that they do has no connection to the outcome. There is no way that they can fix themselves. Practitioners bring their previous experience, education, and beliefs about change to any meeting with clients. When change is not as quick or easy as clients want, practitioners provide support and encouragement that change is possible. Another element of hope is the placebo effect. Research on counseling and medicine consistently shows that when people believe that something will help them, it often is helpful. And that is the end of the chapter. So don't forget, get your character histories in, and I will put them up. I seem to have missed one, but I'll find that one and we'll get that one up. Okay, get them up and get your papers in. You start counseling in probably closer to the end of the of October. Okay, talk to you later.